Okay, so picture this. You're in an interview. Dream job. Everything's going great. And then they ask you one question, and your brain just leaves the building.
Oh, it happens more than people think. Way more.
This is David. He's a recruiter. He's interviewed literally hundreds of people over the years. And today, he's telling us exactly what to say when your mind goes blank in English.
And I'll tell you the secret right now. The people who blank and recover well, they often get hired over the ones who never paused at all.
Wait, really?
Really. I've seen it happen dozens of times.
Okay, I did not expect that to be the hook of this episode, but here we are.
Stick around. It gets better.
So I'm Vicky. This is Vicky's English podcast, and normally it's me and my co-host Jeffrey. But today we've got David, who works in tech recruiting. He's hired for companies across the US and Europe for about 12 years now.
Yes, and full disclosure, English is not my first language either. I moved from Brazil when I was 23. So I've been on both sides of this. The panicking candidate and now the person asking the questions.
Oh, that's perfect, actually. But before we start, everyone please remember to subscribe to our channel. It helps us a lot. Okay, so today, what to do when you blank in an interview. The exact phrases that buy you time, and how to sound confident even when your brain is completely empty.
Which honestly happens to native speakers too. I've seen fluent English speakers freeze up just from nerves.
It really does. Okay, David, tell me, what's the actual moment look like from your side of the table?
So usually it's a behavioral question. Tell me about a time you disagreed with your manager. And I'll see it. The eyes go up, there's this pause, and you can almost hear them thinking, oh no, here we go.
The blank.
The blank. And here's the thing that took me years to learn, even as a candidate myself. You're allowed to say that out loud. You can literally say, that's a great question. Let me think for a second. Nobody's going to fail you for pausing.
See, that's a good one right there. To buy yourself time. You're not avoiding the question. You're just giving your brain a second to catch up.
Exactly. And in Portuguese, we don't really have a natural equivalent phrase for that moment. You just go quiet, which reads very differently in English.
Right. Silence in an interview can feel like you don't know the answer, even if you're actually just thinking.
Which is why I tell every candidate I coach, fill the silence with something, even if it's just, let me think about that for a moment.
Okay, so that's a filler phrase.
Yes. And I actually disagree with a lot of interview coaches on this. A lot of them tell candidates to avoid filler words completely. Never say never say like. And I get why, but honestly, a well-placed to be honest, or let me think, makes you sound more human, not less prepared.
Ooh, okay, I'm going to push back a little here because I've taught hundreds of students prepping for interviews, and I do think there's a real difference between a natural pause phrase and actual rambling. Like, repeated 5 times is not the same thing as one clean, let me think for a second.
That's fair. I'm not saying ramble. I'm saying one clear filler phrase, said with confidence, beats dead silence every single time.
Okay, I can agree with that version.
See, this is exactly the disagreement I have with other recruiters too. Some want total polish, zero hesitation. I want authenticity, a human being who thinks before they answer.
This is where we disagree, and I actually think that's useful for listeners to hear. There isn't one right answer to this.
Right. Now, actual moment of blanking. Say you genuinely don't have an example ready. What do?
Tell me.
You rephrase the question back to buy time. So you're asking about a time I handled conflict with a coworker. Let me think of a specific example. You're not stalling. You're processing out loud, and you're showing them you understood the question.
That's such a good tip to rephrase. You're literally repeating it back, but it does double duty, buys you time, and proves you were actually listening.
And can I tell you my actual disaster interview story?
Please, I need this.
So, early in my career, someone asked me, "What's your greatest weakness?" And I panicked. And I said, I actually said this in a real interview. I don't have any weaknesses.
No.
Yes, in English, to an American hiring manager. Dead serious.
What did he say?
He just kind of smiled, tilted his head, and said, "Take your time. Think of one." And that's the moment I learned. You're allowed to say, "Can I come back to that in a moment?" And move to a different point first.
Oh, that's such a good phrase, to circle back. You literally answer something else first and circle back to the hard question later.
Exactly. Buys you real thinking time, and it's 100% normal professional behavior in English-speaking workplaces.
Did you get the job, by the way?
I did not get that job.
Okay. Noted. Lesson learned the hard way.
Learned it the very hard way, but it made me better at coaching people through it now.
Okay, what about reading the room? Like, how much of this is just body language versus the actual words you say?
Honestly, a huge amount. If you pause and look terrified, that reads badly, no matter what words come next. If you pause, smile a little, and say, "Good question," that exact same silence reads as confidence instead.
That's a great phrase too, by the way. Reading the room. Same words, same silence, but a completely different read depending on how you carry yourself. So it's not really about never blanking. It's about what you do in the 3 seconds after.
That's the whole game, right there.
Okay, here's a scenario for you. Group interviews. Panel interviews. Does blanking hit differently when there's 3 people staring at you instead of 1?
Oh, completely differently. I've seen candidates freeze because they don't know who to make eye contact with while they're thinking. My advice? Pick one person, usually whoever asked the question, and just talk to them like it's a normal conversation. Ignore that there's an audience.
That's such good advice for the anxiety side of it too, not just the language side.
They're the same problem, honestly. Nerves and language panic feed each other. You get nervous, your English gets worse, which makes you more nervous.
A spiral.
A total spiral. Which is why the pause phrases matter so much. They interrupt the spiral before it starts.
Okay, one more before we move on. Video interviews. Does the blank hit differently over Zoom versus in person?
Oh, way differently. And this one, I actually disagree with some of my colleagues on. A lot of recruiters say silence is worse on video because it feels awkward with the delay. I actually think silence is fine on video. What kills people is talking to fill it and rambling because they're staring at their own face and panicking.
The self-view box.
The self-view box is the enemy. My tip? Cover it or move it to the corner. You do not need to watch yourself panic in real time.
Okay, that's genuinely useful advice for anyone, English or not.
Universal truth of video calls.
Okay, let's talk about the question everyone dreads the most. The salary question. Does that one cause a different kind of blank?
Oh, it's a completely different animal. It's not that people don't understand the question. It's that they freeze because they're scared of saying the wrong number. And in a second language, that fear gets amplified.
Because you're not just thinking about the number, you're thinking about how to phrase it politely.
Exactly. So here's a phrase I give every candidate I coach. I'd love to understand the full scope of the role first, but based on my research, I'm expecting somewhere in the range of, that buys you time, it sounds professional, and it doesn't box you into one exact number.
Ooh, based on my research is such a good addition because it shows you did your homework instead of just guessing a number out of panic.
Right. And here's where I'll disagree with a lot of career coaches again. Some tell candidates to never give a number first, ever, under any circumstances. I think that's outdated advice. Sometimes it's totally fine to answer directly and confidently, especially if you clearly know your market value.
See, I actually lean the other way on this one. I tell my students, if you're not 100% sure of your number, deflect first with exactly the phrase you just gave, and only commit once you've had a second to think.
That's fair. And honestly, that's probably the safer version for most people listening to this.
Look at us, disagreeing again.
It's a good disagreement, though. It shows there's more than one right way to handle it.
Okay, one more real story before we move to the practice round. What's the best recovery you've ever personally witnessed?
Oh, I love this one. So I had a candidate, and I asked her to describe a conflict with a coworker. Total blank. Dead silence for about 5 seconds. And then she just said, calmly, "Honestly, I'm drawing a blank on a specific example right now. Can I come back to this one after the next question?" And she said it with zero panic in her voice.
Wait, she used the actual word blank?
She did. Said it like it was nothing.
And what happened?
I moved on, asked her something else, and 3 questions later, she said, "Actually, I thought of a great example for that earlier question," and gave a fantastic answer. She got the job.
That's incredible. Because that's literally the opposite of what most people think you're supposed to do.
Completely opposite. Most people think showing any weakness is fatal. But naming the blank, calmly, out loud, is honestly one of the most confident things a candidate can do.
Okay, I'm officially adding "I'm drawing a blank" to today's vocabulary list.
Please do. It's a great one.
All right, let's do a mini role play. I'll be the interviewer. David, you're the candidate who's about to blank.
Oh no. Okay, go.
Tell me about a time you failed at something.
That's a great question. Let me think for a second. Okay. To be honest, one that comes to mind is a project deadline I missed in my first job.
See? Perfect. You paused, you used a filler phrase, and then you landed the answer smoothly.
And notice I didn't apologize for pausing. That's the key mistake people make. They say, sorry, and that undercuts the whole thing before they've even answered.
Right. Don't apologize for thinking.
Common mistake number 1. Common mistake number 2, over-explaining once you've recovered. Answer, then stop. Don't ramble afterward just to fill the awkwardness.
That's such a good point. Once you've bought your time and answered, you don't need to keep talking to prove you're not nervous.
Nail the answer, then let it breathe.
Okay, let's do one more, harder scenario. What if you genuinely don't understand the question? Not a blank, but you literally didn't catch it.
Great one. So, different tool for this. You say, sorry, could you rephrase that? Or, just to make sure I understand, are you asking about, and then repeat back your best guess.
Oh, that's clutch. Because it turns "I didn't understand" into "I'm being careful and precise."
Exactly. It reframes the whole moment. Recruiters love precision. We do not love guessing wrong and rambling for 2 minutes about the wrong topic.
Fair.
Common mistake number 3, actually. People hear part of a question, panic, and just answer whatever they think it might have been. Always safer to check.
Okay, one last scenario. And I think this one's specific to more technical or skills-based interviews. What if you blank on something you actually know, like a term or a concept, and it's just not coming to you in English?
Oh, this happens constantly, especially with technical vocabulary. The word exists in your head, in your native language, but the English version just won't surface under pressure.
So what do? Do you just describe around it?
Exactly. You describe around it instead of freezing on the exact word. Something like, I don't remember the exact term right now, but it's the process where you... And then you just explain the concept in simple words. 90% of interviewers will either supply the word for you, or honestly, they won't even notice.
That's such a good strategy because it takes the pressure off finding one perfect word.
Right. And here's a mistake I see constantly. People stop mid-sentence, apologize, and say, sorry, I don't know how to say this. And then just stop talking completely. Silence. No forward movement.
Instead of just talking around it.
Instead of just talking around it, yes. The idea itself is what matters, not the one missing word.
Okay, let's actually practice that one too. David, pretend you're explaining a process and you blank on a key term halfway through.
Sure. Okay. So basically, in my last role, I was responsible for the thing where you check the code before it goes live. I don't remember the exact term for it, but essentially you're catching mistakes before customers ever see them.
See, that's perfect. Code review, by the way, for anyone wondering, but you never even needed the word. You explain the whole concept clearly without it.
And that's the real skill. Interviewers aren't grading your vocabulary test. They're grading whether you can communicate an idea clearly under pressure. Those are very different things.
That might be the most important sentence in this whole episode, honestly.
I'll take that.
Okay, so quick recap before we wrap up. When you blank, buy yourself time with a filler phrase, rephrase the question if you need to, circle back if you genuinely need a second, don't apologize for pausing, and check for understanding instead of guessing.
And remember, the recruiter isn't hoping you never pause. We're hoping you recover well when you do. That's honestly the whole skill.
I love that. David, thank you so much for being here. This was genuinely so useful.
Thank you for having me. This was fun. And good luck to everyone listening in your next interview.
Okay, that's it for today's episode. Next time you blank in an interview, you'll know exactly what to say. See you next time.